Colorado's official election results have Democratic candidate Joe Biden receiving 1,804,352 votes. Technically, they were for Biden, but in reality, they were for the 9 people in the Capitol foyer today.
I'm Anita Lynch. I go by Nita.
And I'm Alan Kennedy.
Nita and Alan are 2 of the 9 Democratic electors who made it official today.
Colorado casts its 9 electoral votes for Joe Biden.
Because Colorado law requires electors to cast their vote for the candidate that received the most votes during the election, and because the Supreme Court upheld that law this summer, the outcome was never in question. But if we're really voting for 9 people who will eventually vote for the presidential candidates, why aren't those 9 people also on the ballot? The short answer, state law does not require this. Our question is more about transparency.
I don't have a problem with it. This is a public service, and I want to be out there and accessible by the public.
Electors are picked by the parties. The Democrats picked their 9 back in April during the Assembly and Convention process. As chairman of the Republican Party, Ken Buck picked the 9 delegates that would have been at the Capitol today if President Trump had won Colorado.
I don't know who the Republican ones were. That would be interesting to know who they were.
Who were they? These 9 people. Which takes us back to the question, should the electors' names be printed with the candidates?
I think there's different ways to go at what you are underlining, either the elector's name or even a disclaimer, really, on the ballot to allow voters, remind voters that electors will cast the ballot.
It's fairly easy to run for president in Colorado. $1,000 and signatures from 9 people to be your presidential electors if you win. So printing the names could be costly. There were 21 people who ran for president on Colorado's ballot this year. If the electors for each candidate were printed on the ballots, their names would be really small, or the ballot would cost more to print.
One of the things we did when I was Secretary of State, the electors were on our website.
That was not the case this presidential election. The Secretary of State's office said they were available through an open records request, but Griswold said she would be open to putting them back on the website next presidential election. 2 interesting things to point out about Nita and Alan. Neither support the Electoral College as it exists currently. They would rather see the national popular vote. And both were Bernie Sanders delegates for Colorado at the national convention, meaning they had originally supported Bernie Sanders for president, yet they were 2 of the 9 people to cast our Electoral College vote for Joe Biden. One last thing, Steve, that this fascinated me. I hadn't even considered this. Our boss, Tim Ryan, asked the question this morning, what's preventing, as we referenced Michigan and what Congresswoman-elect Lauren Boebert did and mentioned today, what's preventing the Republican electors from showing up at the state capitol and trying to cast their Electoral College vote instead? I can't find anything in Colorado state law that says it had to be the Democratic electors, only that whoever did it had to do it for Biden since he won in November.
And then that creates another big issue if people show up and vote for someone else. We've seen that happen before.
And we know that can't happen, at least in Colorado, because the Supreme Court said if your state law binds you to the election results, that is law. It has to be done that way. It just isn't clear in Colorado state law who those 9 really have to be. We just know this year it had to be 9 people saying Joe Biden.
See, somebody's listening to this and thinking, wow, we got to change that law. All right, Marshall Zellinger, thank you.